Welcome to Lori Facts, where common sense meets common chaos, the show where using your brain isn't just recommended, it's apparently controversial in the online world. I'm your host, Lori Facts, professional eye roller, chronic common sense distributor, and the person who finally said, you know what, I've had enough. So let's talk about the stuff nobody else wants to touch. Today, we're diving into ethics, or the absolute lack thereof in the YouTube true crime world. The lacking of ethics has completely poisoned the once beloved true crime community. Get comfortable, darling. This one may sting. Would like to explore something that should be obvious to everybody, but apparently isn't online, and that is ethics. Because the moment a child goes missing, suddenly every creator on the internet thinks that they've been deputized by the sheriff's department. They become detectives, they become analysts. Everybody becomes a mind reader, a body language expert, and a psychic medium, all with Wi-Fi. Except, not one of them stops to ask the one thing that truly matters. Should I even be posting this online? So here are the questions that should be shaping how creators act. So let's lay out what I call valid questions to control ethics. These are simple, they're basic, they're common sense, which explains maybe why some creators treat them like they're optional. Ethics question 1. Does this help the case? At what point does covering a case become exploiting someone else's tragedy for views? Spoiler alert, for many of the creators, it's usually the moment they hit go live. You know the type, the ones who had more breaking news banners than CNN, even though the only thing that's breaking is their moral compass. So back to the original question. Does this help the case? Not your ego, not your channel, not your Cash App, but the case. If what you're posting doesn't assist the search, amplified, verified information, or bring clarity, then congratulations. You're not helping. You're adding chaos, you're feeding confusion, you're throwing noise into a situation already drowning with misinformation, and you're making the job harder for people that are actually looking for the missing person. Not every thought needs to be a live stream, not every rumor needs to be content. And if your post creates more questions than it answers, you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. Ethics question 2. Could this harm someone? Families are grieving, neighbors are anxious, witnesses are scared to talk, children are watching. Creators act like people are fictional characters in their personal soap opera. Background noise that they can drag, rewrite, villainize, or throw into a plot twist whenever they're bored or need new content. But these people aren't characters. They're not digital cutouts you can edit into your storyline. These are real humans with real families, real reputations, real jobs, real trauma, and real consequences. Every rumor you repeat becomes somebody else's reality. Every accusation you make lands on a real person who has to deal with the fallout long after your live stream ends. People aren't props, they're not side quests, and treating them like disposable extras isn't commentary. It's cruelty, wrapped in content. Creators love hiding behind the phrase, but it's just my opinion. Cool. So it's my opinion that 90% of you wouldn't recognize due diligence if it sat on your face. If you're presenting rumor as facts to the public, especially about missing children and suspects, that's not content. That's defamation dressed up as a thumbnail. Why are creators inserting themselves into cases they have no training in, no degree, no experience, no license, no boundaries, but somehow they're doing their own investigations, like they're starring in a Wish.com, CSI, Appalachia, and then they wonder why families feel re-traumatized. Ethics question 3. Did the family consent to this coverage? Let's be honest, 99% of the time, that answer is going to be no. Families don't consent, they don't approve, and they don't co-sign your content journey. They're not sitting at home thinking, wow, I hope some random YouTuber with zero investigative background gives me a 3-hour live stream to analyze my grief and trauma. Silence is not consent. Silence is shock. It is trauma. It is exhaustion. Silence is we can barely survive the day, let alone monitor what creators are doing. Creators love to pretend, well, they didn't tell me to stop. That means permission. No, it means they're drowning and you're adding waves. And here's the truth. If you're speaking for the family without their consent or speaking over the family against their consent, you're not advocating. You're hijacking their voice. Ethical creators respect boundaries. Unethical creators bulldoze right over them for content. Should creators even privately contact victims' families? Or worse, secretly record them? The answer is no, just no. Are you out of your mind? Creators aren't journalists with protections. We're not law enforcement, we're not advocates, we're content creators with subscribers to feed and monetization to chase. When you're contacting families, inserting yourself into private conversations, or doing things that border surveillance, you're not helping the case, you're only feeding your ego. Ethical question 4. Is this verified? Or am I repeating rumors from TikTok like they're courtroom documents? If your source is a commenter said in a live chat, you don't have evidence, you have noise, you have digital static, you have somebody's late night brain spill typed from behind an anonymous username. Live chat is not a crime lab. Comments are not case files. A random viewer typing, "I heard," does not magically turn it into verified information just because a creator wants a storyline. If you're building your entire theory off of screenshots from trolls, DMs from strangers, and whispers in a live stream chat, then you're not analyzing a case. You're playing telephone with 1,000 people watching. And the only thing that spreads faster than the truth is the lie with good engagement. Question 5. Am I respecting the humanity of the missing child? If your thumbnail looks like a carnival poster, if you're adding dramatic music and emojis, if you're sexualizing anything or anyone involved, if you're mixing speculation with entertainment, then no, you're not respecting the child. You're not honoring their humanity, their fear, their story, or their dignity. You're turning a missing child's case into a plot device for content. When you slap neon emojis, dramatic music, clickbait titles, and wild speculation onto tragedy, you're not helping. You're commercializing someone's worst nightmare. This child isn't a storyline. They're not a character. They're not an opportunity for engagement. They're a human being who deserves sensitivity, accuracy, and compassion, not to be recycled as fuel for the next viral live stream. And here's the truth nobody likes to admit. If a creator even fails one of these questions, they've already crossed into unethical territory. Let's get real for a second. The true crime community loves drama more than it loves facts. Half of these creators would trade their own eyebrows for a viral video. But here's the problem. When you're talking about missing children, grieving parents, traumatized families, false suspects, and real-world consequences, this isn't entertainment. This is real life, real pain, and it can be damaging to people forever. Also, some YouTube personality somewhere can make a couple of super chats and gain some clout. Now that we have the test laid out, let's talk about the creators who fail so spectacularly you'd think it was a competition. What responsibility do creators have when their content leads to harassment, doxing, or real-world harm? Creators pretending that their audience just magically decided to attack people on their own. Saying, "I can't control what my subscribers do." Sweetheart, maybe you can't control your volume button, but let's not pretend you aren't fully aware that the dog pile starts after your live stream ends. If your content has repeatedly sparked harassment, that's not coincidence, that's a pattern. So then why do creators act shocked when their reckless behavior has consequences? Saying things like, "We didn't mean for the family to be harassed. We didn't know it would cause problems. We didn't realize making false claims about a grieving mother would hurt her." Really? Really? I trip over my own cat with more self-awareness than that. Why does accountability feel like a personal attack to them? If you point out inconsistencies, misinformation, hypocrisy, or reckless reporting, suddenly you are a hater. You're a bully. You're jealous. You're stalking. No, honey, we're tired of the circus that you call content creation. So let me ask this. What happened to compassion? Because how I see it, somewhere between the super chats and the PayPal links, empathy walked out the door. These episodes are not about drama. They're about accountability, about holding people accountable. It is not intended to harm or harass anyone. However, if you feel like this is about you, or perhaps it may be about you, maybe it's time to make a change. If I'm being honest, I'm not here to make new friends, so take it as you want. I'm okay with my ethics. But are you? So now if you're sitting there thinking, wow, this sounds familiar as you listen to all of this, buckle up, because this was just an appetizer. This is episode 1 of a full breakdown. Case by case, creator by creator, pattern by pattern, or however I decide to bring it out, just how ethics evaporated and chaos took over the YouTube true crime genre.
Whispers say echoes rest, truth remains. When lies confess, it's time to say it, clear as breath. Enough. This is